Should you buy a CNG car? This is what we are going to discuss in this video today. CNG is essentially compressed natural gas which contains almost 70 to 90% methane. Compressing natural gas reduces its volume to almost 1% of the original volume. That's how it makes it usable as a transportation fuel. Let's look at the list of CNG cars available in India. Most popular ones are Tata Altroz, Maruti Brezza and Maruti Wagoner. There are about 30 numbers of different CNG cars available in India, starting from the price range of almost 3 lakhs to maybe 15 lakhs or 16 lakhs range. CNG is increasingly becoming a matter of choice for budget car buyers amidst petrol, diesel and EV counterparts. This is especially true when many car makers are pulling a plug on the small-sized diesel cars. Maruti Suzuki has been dominating the CNG car market with many models. The latest entrants to this fray are Tata's, Hyundai and Toyota. CNG vehicles actually commands a premium over petrol cars. All the same time, it has got significantly lower running costs. When the petrol diesel prices were steadily increasing, CNG became more and more competitive. Although the price of CNG witnessed a huge jump recently, it's still cheaper than petrol and diesel, still offers a lower running cost. In India, places like Delhi, the entire public transport systems were converted into CNG, including taxis, three-wheelers and buses, leading to lower emission of particulate matters, which is an important concern in cities with high levels of pollution. While there has been increasing concern on methane leaks from the wells of natural gas production as compared to crude oil extraction, and methane being deadly from the point of view of greenhouse gases. But still, the overall energy required to extract natural gas is lower than crude oil. And since CNG comes in gaseous forms, there is no requirement of further distillation and purification, things like that from crude oil when you make petrol and diesel. So the production cost of natural gas is almost 50% less than petrol or diesel. And overall, there is a benefit from the point of view of environmental concerns with respect to petrol or diesel. So an overall life cycle analysis will easily prove that CNG has some benefits over petrol and diesel. But the threat to CNG vehicles come more from cleaner vehicles of electric vehicles. As the prices of CNG increases along with prices of petrol and diesel, more and more importance falls on electric cars. However, as on date, electric vehicles are still very expensive from the point of view of initial cost, the battery changing cost, and there are many problems with respect to replacement of batteries, guarantees, the range availability, the distribution network, infrastructure availability for charging stations, and various other inconveniences and drawbacks. As of date, electric vehicles are still not very competitive in comparison to CNG or even for that matter petrol vehicle. But as we go on, definitely electric cars are going to get cheaper and cheaper, and they're going to come out of most of the disadvantages we face today. However, if you're planning to buy a CNG car in India, please look at all the pros and cons very carefully. Whether or not to buy a CNG car in India will depend on many factors, including your specific requirements and circumstances. We're going to describe certain factors which you need to consider. When you look at the cost factor, CNG is as on date cheaper than petrol or even diesel. Regarding the upfront cost, CNG cars are more expensive compared to petrol or diesel cars, as they require special equipment and modifications to run the engine on CNG. If you look at the break-even, considering the total cost of ownership, including the initial price, the fuel expenses, the maintenance expenses, the resale value, etc., CNG should pay back within a few years if you have a reasonable utilization or running. If you plan to drive long distances regularly, very quickly it will pay back. It is way easier to reach the break-even point for a CNG car as compared to a diesel car or a hybrid car or a fully electric vehicle. Generally, as a thumb rule, the CNG cars could be costlier by rupees 1 lakh with respect to the petrol version. If you take the example of Maruti Baleno, exactly you will see a difference of about 1 lakh rupees between the petrol version and the CNG version. If you do a quick break-even analysis calculation, you will find that the break-even will reach at around 50,000 kilometers running. So if you are running maybe 25,000 kilometers every year, within 2 years you will pay back. As compared to this, if you look at electric vehicles, it should take more than double the kilometers to reach a break-even point as compared to the CNG vehicle. A CNG car is generally more fuel efficient as compared to a petrol car or even a diesel car. The CNG fuel is measured in kilograms, unlike in the case of petrol or diesel, which is done in liters based, or abroad it is done on gallons based, on volume based, whereas CNG is done on weight basis in kilograms. Let's take an example of Wagoner car for comparing the fuel efficiency. The same type of Wagoner car with CNG engine, the Maruti claims a mileage of around 32-33 kilometers per kilogram of LNG. In comparison, the petrol model gives a fuel efficiency of around 21-22 kilometers per liter of petrol. Definitely, CNG is better fuel efficient. Look at the price of LNG price rupees per kilogram as compared to diesel price or petrol price rupees per liter. The CNG price is slightly cheaper as on date. So overall, there is a good benefit because of the better fuel efficiency, because of the lower price of CNG. There is definitely a good benefit on the running cost. Availability of CNG filling stations is a challenge. In India today, it's not as good as what you have for petrol or diesel. You have to really make sure the CNG filling stations are available in your area or in the route where you normally travel before you venture into purchasing a CNG vehicle. In many of the metro cities, Mumbai, Delhi and all, you can see long queues of taxis for filling these CNG stations. On the environmental benefits, CNG is definitely a cleaner fuel with respect to petrol or diesel. That's when you talk about the vehicle tailpipe emissions. CNG definitely emits lower amounts of carbon dioxide and particulate matter. Availability of vehicle options, definitely CNG vehicles should be inferior to petrol or diesel vehicles as on date. We talk about the performance. CNG vehicles are less powerful compared to even a petrol car. The dip in performance could be anything between 10 to 15%. The good part is that the CNG cars generally they run on both petrol and CNG, dual fuel vehicles. CNG gives a lower range of driving due to the smaller capacity of CNG fuel tank. Petrol cars definitely gives a higher driving range. Warranty of CNG cars are typically lower than petrol cars. This is because CNG system is more complex and can be prone to more problems. Maintenance costs of CNG cars are typically slightly higher than the petrol versions. This is because CNG system needs to be serviced more frequently. Since CNG cars have additional components, it requires extra care as CNG is highly combustible fuel and regular maintenance of CNG kit is essential. A common myth about CNG vehicles, the CNG fuel reduces the engine life, but that is not strictly true, especially when the vehicle comes with a factory fitted CNG kit. Modern cars, definitely the engine lives are not compromised. Natural gas is almost 3.5 times less energy dense. It requires many times more volume of fuel to produce the same amount of energy. Fuel tanks for CNG needs to be much larger in size, cutting into available storage or cabin space of the car and also increasing the vehicle weight. In biofuel tanks, 2 specific fuel tanks are required, limiting storage cabin space even further. So generally CNG vehicles, you can see that the boot space is hampered. So if it's a hatchback, it eats away almost the whole of boot space. So there are problems with respect to carrying big luggages. With rising pollution levels, there are moves by the government for restricting the use of diesel to start with. And slowly the axe is going to fall on all types of fossil fuels one after another. CNG in the long run will be a transition fuel before the country could reach self-sufficiency in electric vehicles, which is a long way to go, definitely. There are concerns about safety of CNG cars, but the car makers like Maruti Suzuki, they ensures utmost safety by using very specialized materials, preformed stainless steel tanks and pipes. So in case of an impact, CNG fuel tanks are pretty safe. And CNG being lighter than air can easily dissipate into air as compared to petrol or diesel, which can pool on the ground and fills in as a fire peril. Since CNG cars are becoming more and more popular, many car manufacturers are providing kits for converting petrol into a CNG car. However, you have to be very careful while choosing the CNG kit and the installation. Only go to an authorized seller, purchase the kit and install it through experts. Ensure that only good quality materials are used while installing. There are 2 main types of CNG kits available: direct injection and port injection kits. The direct injection kits are more expensive, but they offer better fuel efficiency. and performance. Let us conclude. The burning of natural gas instead of dirtier fossil fuel is often credited with helping reduce greenhouse gas emissions, leading many people to believe that this is a bridge fuel that can accelerate the transition to clean energy. Yet with the increasing availability of electric vehicles and with more and more cleaner energy, renewable energy being used for the production of electricity by countries, electric vehicles will have a definite edge in future. CNG vehicles can be considered as a transition fuel when you are gradually changing from fossil fuels into electric vehicles. If you find this video interesting, please like and share. And to see more and more such videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.